Hey Hero fans, this is Todd, and today we're going to talk about Marlena. Now this is a figure we've always wanted since the 80s, and we never got in this size. We did get her in Classics, and she was cool, and there were some cool customs made later on, but it's so cool to actually have her right here. So before we open her up, let's set her right there. Let's talk about the Classics figures, because you guys know I love Classics, so let's hop into it. Let me turn on a few more lights here. I had most of my lights off because I got so much stuff running in the other room. I thought it might be prudent to not have too many lights on, but it's just too dark in here. Too dark. All right. That and that. There we go. I got a few more lights going on. All right, so in the Classics line, we got this really cool Queen Marlena, and she came packed out two ways. She came packed out either as the Queen, like this, with some extra parts, like the space helmet and an extra head, and a cool space gun, and then this cool Captain Glenn kind of a jumper with a gun on it. And then you would take off her dress, which was like this, and the back would open up and it has little tabs in there, and then you would replace her dress with this little tunic, as you can see the little plugins in there, and then she would then be dun 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 dun. Where is she? Oh, here she is. Brr. Captain Glenn in her space uniform, and it was a pretty cool idea that you could pack her out one way or the other. And again, she came in two different ways, either packed out as a Captain Glenn with the dress and the extra crown head there, or packed out this way with the Captain Glenn parts in the box. Now, as cool as this is, and I don't mean to be a complainer, in the cartoon, she was wearing white, not green. So a lot of people took and made her green and everything else. So since then, I've seen some pretty cool customs, and I decided to copy one of those customs, and here is Captain Glenn ready for battle, and I love it with the bare arms, and I painted her cuffs green, and then stuck on the green tunic and swapped out the legs for Captain Glenn. So there she is, Captain Glenn. Now I made another Captain Glenn since then. This one's a little different. This one, she has the shoulders still covered. I like just the complete bare arms better, but this is kind of more of an extra pieces thing. And she also came with another figure in the box. I almost forgot to mention it. And that is, she also came with Cringer. Cringer. Now, the only way to get Cringer was with Captain Glenn, or Queen Marlena. And there he was. Now, it is an unarticulated figure. You could twist the head if you worked really hard at it, or the tail, but neither one is really made to be moved. It was just for molding purposes, pretty much. So I ended up buying a lot of these Queen Marlenas for different reasons. One is I would pull this piece out right here and replace it with the exploding crotch version of the Green Sorceress Tila, and those would always just explode all the time. And so by swapping that out, you know, and then putting extra glue around the other one, it would just make it so that you wouldn't have that problem anymore. And if you swapped it out with the one that wore the dress, you would never notice that you swapped it out because it's way up in this area and no way to tell. Now, if you swapped it out with the one that you have in the tunic, you might notice. Now, this Captain Glenn, this Queen Marlena, I decided to give her gold boots. I thought that was a cool idea because she has a gold belt on. So I gave her She-Ra's boots. Just something kind of fun. I thought that was kind of cool. I think I might have gave her bare legs too. Let's see. I did. I gave her bare legs as well. So you can see she's sporting bare legs, and she's also sporting the whole entire She-Ra bottom, actually. That's funny. So that's how she got this one. So she has bare legs, and she has the gold boots on. Bare-legged Queen Marlena. Of course, you don't see the bare legs because of this dress that is so hard to put back together. There we go. But I thought that was kind of a fun, cool custom. So as you can see, let me change my camera angle here. I have a plethora of Queen Marlena and parts, mostly because I really wanted these guns right here. Now, these guns were used in the 1987 movie for Skeletor's troopers, and so I wanted to give one to every single Horde trooper I had. So I bought these guns. Every time I saw them on eBay for sale, I bought Queen Marlena's for sale, all kinds of things just to get the guns so I could have them to put with my Horde troopers so they could all have the same gun that the troopers had, which I know they weren't Horde troopers in the movie, but just so they would have that. And I also made this little cool little map of Eternia. It's the map of Eternia. Whoa. And you can see it's not the whole entire thing, but there's the palace, there's the southern plain, there's the village of Veritas, however you say that. The Hall of Wisdom's right up here. And it was for my little video I made to show they were going to use the southern plains to make the new Texas. Anyway, that's a different storyline altogether. So, after having all these cool Queen Marlenas, for my video, I made a throne. The throne, I made one for King Randor, one for her. And I found out that because of her hard plastic rubbery dress, wasn't even that rubbery, more plastic, I guess it's rubbery, you can't bend her knees to sit her in the throne. And I had it all made, getting ready to film, and it's like, oh man, I can't have her sit down. I thought, am I going to make her stand the whole entire time, just right in front of the throne or next to King Grace or King Randor the whole time? So I had to go and make a special version, or I got some cloth, and the cloth was the wrong color, so I had to dye it extra green to make a version that would sit down so she could sit in her throne as one of the rulers of Eternia. So there you go. There is my special sit-down version. She's not made for action. Her skirt opens up way too easy. But there you go. Which, of course, after you cut that stuff off, you end up with stuff like this. The bottom half of her dress. Or I cut it right along the belt right here. And then glued the cloth around it on the inside over there. But it's funny. And then I have like... I also used her tunic to make some, what is her name? Shirella figures. And so when I cut off the top half, I had these little shorts still left over. It was kind of funny. So I end up with these weird little chunks of pieces from when I do my customs. Anyway, that was a lot of discussion just to finally get to this figure. Anyway, I'm really excited about her because, like I said, there's two figures we really wanted badly, which were never made in the past, and that was Queen Marlena and Shadow Weaver. And technically, they could have had shared parts to make it work. But anyway, so let's go ahead and open her up. Before we do, let's take a look at the back of the box. They show King Randor. And of course, the version they show is the Filmation version because it's the Filmation packaging. And then they also show Queen Marlena as well. And it shows you can put her space helmet on and have her crown head. So there you go. All right. And you can see here, Rainbow Warrior. There's her helmet and there's her white suit that she wore in the cartoon. Yeah, I was never ambitious enough to paint one white. Try to paint white over the green and then have it not come off. That's a lot. That's a huge color change, and the odds of it cracking and looking bad a couple years later, it was not worth the risk. I knew it was going to look bad when it was done, so I just opted not to. All right, let's go ahead and open her up and check her out. So let me move this camera a little closer. And she comes on the He-Man and Masters of the Universe card, which represents the cartoon collection. And let's pull this off of here. She comes with a comic book called Courtship. And I'm guessing it's how her and King Randor got together. Yes, there's young King Randor. See, that'd be a cool figure to have. The young King Randor figure. And there she is with her cool haircut. Back when they first met. I guess he's telling the story to Prince Adam. There's her spaceship. See? Woman from the stars. meets a barbarian king. I really like the storyline idea of He-Man's mom being from Earth. I like it because it gives us a tie-in, you know, and it works good for the Christmas special, of course, or anything you want to say is from Earth. There's your connection right there every single time, so it's kind of cool. I know in 2000X she was not from Earth. She was just an Eternian woman, but in the Filmation series, she was from Earth. Very cool. Yep, they need to make us young King Randor and her in her spacesuit. That'd be cool. Anyway, let's see what's removable. And her arms, her waist, her boots, her head. That's like her face too. That's weird. Oh, it's probably her oh, her whole entire hair comes off to put the helmet on probably. Weird. Weird. Let's take a look. There she is. There she is. Let's first take a look at the helmet. Now that is really bizarre the way they have that shaped. Because this comes down so you can still see her face just to protect her eyes, which would not really work too much in outer space, but whatever. And I'm guessing this little plug right here probably plugs into her hair. And this line right here probably plugs into the back where her hair used to be, because a lot of figures, they add that line for the hair so they don't get crooked in the factory. All right. Where are my scissors? There. Now, a long time ago, I tried to give my Queen Marlena classics forearms like this. I really like the forearms that are all poofy like the cartoon. Well, these scissors just will not cut. Ugh. Hooray. Alright, and see the poofy forearms? I actually made some one time out of hot glue and sent them to my friend to cast. And when he got them, when he cast them, they ended up just melting. He's like, hey, you shouldn't have used hot glue to make them. It's like, yeah, I know that now. But anyway, I do like the poofy, because we did not get that with our Queen Marlena. We got the regular cuffs so she could be transformed into the astronaut. Oh, weird. We did not get the regular cuffs. Look at that. They have extra detail. All these years, I never noticed the extra detail on them. Whoa. The Four Horsemen did a good job. I just thought they were just regular bracers like we saw with She-Ra and everybody else. That's funny. Oh, well. Okay, let's talk about articulation. So, we have a boot cut. Or not a boot cut. We have an ankle joint. We have a boot cut. We have a single jointed knee. We have hip movement. We have her dress opens up like a cape, so that you can get and have her legs go out to the side. Her waist turns. Her shoulders move. Her elbow moves, but this one's kind of frozen a little bit. And when it does move, it leaves this weird gap. I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it goes that way. That one's kind of stuck too. Then her wrist here goes up and down so she can hold the sword. And then this one goes back and forth. So she can hold He-Man's sword aloft and turn into She-Ra. Now her neck peg is really long. We're talking long. So long that there's a big old gap between her head and her neck. That is a miss. I mean, I do like the longer necks on the females quite often, but when it's so long, there's this weird gap when they move their head. That's just not right. That's really strange. All right, we got to pull her hair off now and see how that works. Whoop! Ho! She's that V'ger from Star Trek. Carbon units. All right, let's put on her space helmet, which is really weird to have the space helmet go on, but not have the rest of the suit. Ugh. Urgh. There we go. Boop. Do. Yeah, that chin thing's really weird. I wonder if it's right side up. I wonder if it's upside down. Let me pull this off and try to put it on the other way. Hopefully I don't break it. I only bought one Queen Marlena. You have to heat it up to get that off. Let me take a look at the little drawing on here and see if they show. Nope. Yeah, see, it looks pretty symmetrical on there. See, it's got the two curves right here. I think these two curves are supposed to go on the bottom. You know what? I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to heat this up, and I am going to turn this over and see if it fits better, just to see. I'll be right back. All right, well, I'm back, and I went ahead and turned it over. So now the side that's more rounded is on top, and the side that's more like a mustache is on the bottom. And that seems to match the picture better here in this graphic. You can see the mustache shape one is on towards the eyes here, which would put the rounded part towards the top. So I just heated it up a little bit because I was afraid this would shrink too much. So mine was upside down, but it didn't seem to help too much. To see how it looks on her face now. Yeah, actually that does make, oops, sorry. That does make more sense when you bring it down, because now her nose is visible. You can see her eyes through there. You gotta really push that on to get it all the way where it's supposed to be. Because her lips should be just a little bit visible. Sorry, I keep going out of frame. And so, to get her head all the way on there, it's quite the task. Yep, looks like the picture now. There we go. Do-do-do. Oh yeah, much better. I'm glad I flipped that over. Yep. So check yours out. If you have a super rounded piece, it's upside down, turn it around. It should have this nice little swoop back and forth on both sides. Similar to like a weird mustache looking thing. That way it fits on her nose right. Much better. Alright, let's put her hair back on. And that fits really well. Alright, well, she's a pretty cool figure. I'm happy with her. A couple things I just don't like. You know what? I'm going to grab Shadow Weaver. Let's compare her to Shadow Weaver and see what parts they might have reused. Stand there, Queen Marlena. Nope. Firmly stand. There we go. Oh. Stand. Da-do. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, not that box. Not that box. This box. Here we go. Shadow Weaver. And it looks like it's the same upper arms. That's what I was thinking. That's because I remember having this weird little thing here, but that gap was there to line up with her sleeve here. See, that made sense. Even though I didn't like it when you bent her arm, but then it's like these little pieces here. But on Queen Marlena, having that sleeve like that, it just looks weird. You got this big old bend on there with the sleeve sticking out with a sharp point. I mean, for wrestling, it'd be great. You nail someone with that sharp edge. But not a fan of that. And I could see they probably were thinking in their head, we can use Shadow Weaver parts everywhere we can. But it doesn't work, Mattel. Bummer. The top's different. Wow. Look at the waist size difference. That is hilarious. I always thought Shadow Weaver had good hips, but not compared to Queen Marlena. That's funny. And of course she has no legs, which is what I was expecting from her, because you can't really make her sit. I mean, oh, if you brought her legs out first, I suppose you could make her sit that way, but not really. I'm just surprised they didn't have it. It is removable. What? Look at that. I was going to say I'm surprised it wasn't removable, but it is. So I guess if you take off her hair, put on her helmet, now she can be almost like she's in a spacesuit. This tunic has to come off too. It has to. There's got to be something underneath. It feels like it's... Okay. Yeah, it somehow comes off. Let's... It's like Polly Pocket clothes all over again. Oop! I have to go find that head again. Come on, Sie bitte. Don't make you grab the hot water. Is it going to say Glenn on her chest? Nope, it is not. Okay, so now you can have the Captain Glenn. Interesting. Okay. That's kind of cool. So they got some other arms. I'm trying to think whose arms match that the closest. That's a pretty close match. Let's check out Frosta. Frosta. Nope. Too pink. Not enough yellow. How about She-Ra? She-Ra. Okay. Oop. Oh. Luckily she landed on her helmet. She's okay. Okay. I got another idea. How about this She-Ra? The light colored one. That is pretty close. Oop. I caught her mid-fall. Oh, there she is. Okay. I think her arms are pretty close. So let's try this out and see how it looks. It might be too far different. Oh! Yeah, it's too pink next to her yellow. I don't want to pull her arms off just because but that'd be the closest. Because trying to get these sleeves lined back up would be a pain in the rear. So even though that would work, hers are darker. So it wouldn't quite work right, but it might be close. All right. So that is quite the adventure. That'd be funny that she came with extra arms through the full. Of course, you know what? They should have just gave us the white version too. Not in the same package. They could have. I suppose they could have given us two in the same package. That looks weird. I'm surprised this is just not a collar, that it's a whole entire rubber shirt. Okay, let's try to get this rubber shirt back on. Because I'm going to keep her the queen all the time. I'm not going to be altering her. Fit. I have to call my granddaughter in and do the Polly Pocket thing. Make her rubber clothes fit. It's funny, the greens are slightly different. This one has more blue in it, and this one's more just straight up green. But you know, if they're going to do that, they could have made the clothes white underneath. So she could be in her spacesuit. Mattel, you missed it, man. Could have had her white underwear underneath there, some extra white arms. And then when you pulled off the pants or the skirt, there's white legs underneath. That would have been cool. I mean, we've seen that with some of the Marvel figures, and they would change a figure out. They'll just give us extra arms. Like if they're not wearing a jacket or wearing a jacket or something. That is one heck of a tight fit, and I am not doing a very good job putting this on. Oh, all right. I'll try one more time. And then I'll go grab the hot water. Almost. So close, but yet so far away. Okay, I'm going to stick her hand on here. See if we can't pull that around. Bring it around town. There we go. That's the trick. Whew, well, that's never coming off again. Well, if this comes off, why even make it split at all? That's just been a solid piece that just slides off. That's the way I would, you know what? Where is that dress piece? It's way too tall and way too big. Never mind. Never mind. All right, there she is. Did she not come with any accessories? Just the helmet? No scepter? No scepter of power. All right, well, that's all I got, you guys. So until next time, like they say in the 1987 movie.
Good journey. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
If you found enjoyment, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Do it.